Good morning. I'm Lindsay Bridges from Charlotte Center for Mindfulness, and I'm glad to be practicing with you this morning. I want to start with just sharing a bit of an experience with someone I care a lot about that I had in the last few days. So I learned from this person that they were experiencing, due to COVID, downturn in a significant piece of their income. And then, right on the tail of that, they found out they had been exposed to COVID. Um, and as a result of that, the rest of their immediate income vanished in a moment. So, all of that will change and come back as they move through this COVID exposure period. But it was this very useful reminder that our old way of thinking happiness would come in the world doesn't work. If my happiness is dependent upon reaching some sort of external stability, some sort of place where there's smooth sailing and all is going well, then I don't actually have much chance at happiness in this world. Just listening to this person I care about brought home how unsteady our times are, as things do for all of us every day on a daily basis. And being with my life, being with this world in a way that invites gratitude, invites joy, invites a wisdom of being with life. All of that is relevant. So, two quotes, a quote and a poem actually came up for me after the conversation. And these two go well together for a different kind of orientation that opens us up to a deeper possibility of being with the world in a way that feels good, that has meaning and purpose, a right orientation of the compass. So, the first one that I want to share is a quote from Narayan, Helen, Liebenson, excuse me. When she says, comes from an essay she wrote called The Refuge of Sitting. So she's talking about sitting meditation practice. What happens when we sit is none of our business. The practice is to accept whatever arises instead of trying to control our experience. What we can control is our wise effort to be present with what is. I love that reminder. It's not about making sure what is arising moment by moment is all good or is the way we want things to be. She says it pretty bluntly. It's none of our business. The practice is not what arises. The practice is finding a wise orientation, accepting what arises, and learning to find a wise effort to be present with it. And to me, that quote leaves something strong out that I think is crucial for that wise effort. And that's the heart. How do we make sure we're not just trying to be with our minds, but we're opening to our whole being, which includes the strength of the heart? So the second piece I want to share is Messenger by Mary Oliver. I've shared this before because there are two lines in it that come back to me over and over. She says, "My work is loving the world. Here the sunflowers, there the hummingbird, equal seekers of sweetness. Here the quickening yeast, there the blue plums, here the clam deep in the speckled sand. Are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still half perfect? Let me keep my mind on what matters, which is my work, which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished. The phoebe, the delphin, the sheep in the pasture, and the pasture, which is mostly rejoicing, since all the ingredients are here, which is gratitude to be given a mind and a heart, and these body clothes, a mouth with which to give shouts of joy to the moth and the wren and the sleepy dug-up clam, telling them all over and over how it is that we live forever. Love that too. And it needs the balance of the other. Sometimes the moment is not the sunflowers and the hummingbird. When that moment is here, we want to be open and available to it, be able to step into the appreciative joy that resources our heart to be with the difficult and what's here. But the work is still the same. Even when it's not the sunflowers and the hummingbird, it's the difficult. My work is loving the world. Let me keep my mind on what matters, which is my work. So, in whatever way is useful for you, let's take a moment to pause and sit. What happens when we sit is none of our business. The practice is to accept whatever arises. And instead of trying to control our experience, we control what we control is our wise effort to be present with what is. And my work is loving the world. So finding whatever posture best supports your body. Taking a moment to just feel into whatever's here for you. Some sort of acknowledging, this is what's arising in this moment. And then turning towards the work of loving the world. In this moment, the part of the world we're honing in on is this body, mind, and heart. Resourcing it with this act of sitting so that we have greater strength and ease to meet the rest of the world. Taking your time with homing the awareness inward in a wise, compassionate way. Find your anchor, your home base, whether it's the breath or body, sound, loving kindness, phrase. Choose some anchor. Take a few minutes to allow the mind room and space to begin to settle in this opening that you're offering here. As we move inward towards the anchor, of course, the mind still has its currents carrying us elsewhere. Really taking that line to heart. My work is loving the world. In this moment, the world you're paying attention to is this body, mind, and heart. So it matters moment by moment how you meet whatever arises. As you're directing towards the home base, pay attention to how you pay attention to whatever arises that pulls you elsewhere. How do you meet that with kindness, compassion, non-judging, willingness to see and return back to home? Paying attention to where the mind is now, either in this opening to the home base, the refuge, the release, or how you meet whatever arises. Knowing that all of it matters, all of it is the practice. All of it is learning to live with this body, mind, and heart just as it is in this moment right now, not wishing it away for something else, something you think is better. But a willingness to open and be with in a way that matters this moment right now. Thank you. Lovely practicing with you this morning. Couple of announcements. Jude Johnson is teaching an introduction to mindfulness class starting next Thursday evening. It will run for 4 weeks, an hour and 15 minutes. You can find the sign up information online. I also have a mindful parenting class starting towards the end of August. I would love to have you join that as well. In terms of these online offerings, they're the morning meditations, evening meditations, community groups. These are freely offered, and if you would like to support our being able to make these available, we appreciate any support. And you can go to our website, and the donate here button helps financially support this work. So know that I'm sending you good wishes on your day, and hope to be practicing with you again soon. Thank you.